Well, a very good evening. Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. We are continuing to see this rather somewhat innocuous weather pattern across the western half of Europe at the moment. We're seeing very, very warm weather for the time of the year. Toast Spain, Portugal, and down into the Canary Islands as well. We've seen several March records falling, both in mainland Spain and also down across the Canary Islands, where we're seeing 34, 35 degrees. Very, very warm conditions here. That heat is now getting, kicked out, tempered. Much cooler air now starting to filter over Iberian airspace, and as a response to that, we're going to see much cooler, cloudier, more unsettled conditions. We could, in fact, see some very significant rainfall over the next 24 hours across southern and eastern parts of Spain. So we'll keep our eyes on that. But as we start to go into the new working week, we are going to be talking about more milder coming into the UK. So while we've got somewhat low pressure over Iberia, milder runs over the top of that into the UK, and we are going to feel the effects of that over the next several days. Really, the past few days has not been cold at all, but clear skies tonight will allow some rural frost to develop. But it's mid-March, nothing unusual by any means. What is unusual, however, is the weather that we're seeing over the eastern half of North America. We are seeing the potential for an historic March snowstorm stroke blizzard for the northeastern half of the country, the southeastern portion of Canada as well, where we've had bitterly cold air come down, but we are going to see low pressure develop off the coast, and that is expected to bomb out like we've seen just a day or two ago, where we've got this area of low pressure currently to the east of Labrador, 969, 967 millibars, should I say, a very significant area of low pressure which produced one of the strongest windstorms in many years for Newfoundland. We've seen a lot of traffic light damage, a lot of power poles snapped, trees down, buildings damaged due to 100 mile per hour winds over Newfoundland in the last 36 hours. So a very significant wind machine that we've seen now starting to exit into the North Atlantic. That is going to cross. But what we are also going to see is these areas of low pressure developing in between high pressure near Azores, low pressure to the northwest of the Atlantic. In between, we've got a powerhouse jet stream, and that is going to be the main driver of our weather over the next week or so. We are going to see intrusions of cold air. We may see snow, not just primarily the high elevations, but also down the lower levels as well through the course of this upcoming week. But we are going to start the week on a very mild note indeed. The reason why is we've got 1037 high to the west of Iberia. We're going to have a northwesterly airflow, and therefore we're going to continue to see some very mild air getting pushed into the UK over the next several days here. So we're not particularly cold. Certainly by night time we are going to feel a little bit cooler with the clear skies, but as we go through into the first half of the week, any kind of precipitation is generally going to be focused across the northwestern half of the country, as you can see here. So fairly quiet, nothing particularly extreme to talk about compared to what we're seeing over the northeastern half of the country. Look at that there. We are seeing that area of low pressure really significantly deepen off the east coast of the United States, and that is going to blast, and I mean blast, the I-95 corridor, where you're talking about, somewhat 50 million people living between DC and Boston. We could be seeing a widespread area of 12 plus inches of snow with this system. We're going to see also the potential for hurricane force winds over high elevation and along the coastline. But we're paying close attention to this area of low pressure here over the central North Atlantic. UK is still under high pressure during the day on Tuesday, but we're watching that area of low pressure very carefully because that could be a significant weather maker as we go towards the latter half of this working week. So even by the latter half of Tuesday, Thursday, we could be looking at the maintaining of mild weather. But it's actually this area of low pressure that's bombing out off the east coast of the United States. That is the feature that could bring some particularly unsettled, colder, stormier weather across the UK. So as this is Thursday, 16th, 2100 hours. And you can see here that we've got a lot of weather coming in off the Atlantic here, right in this rather persistent, dominant area of high pressure to the northwest of the Canaries and the Azores. So as we go towards the latter half of this week, into the weekend, we've got a mass of wet weather coming in. Cold air associated with that. Bear in mind where it came from. It came from North America. We've got a tremendous amount of cold air. These areas of low pressure are going to basically carry this, albeit modified by the time it reaches the UK, but it is going to be a rather cold system, so we may see some snow, not just primarily the high ground, but also the low levels as well. Also going to be talking about severe gale potential, and also some heavy rainfall and snow mixed in. So it looks as if we're going to start the weekend next week on a rather unsettled, even stormy, cold note. So you can see that here. Look at the amount of precipitation driving into the western half of both Ireland and Scotland, the northwest of England as well, by the time we get to the second half of Friday. And that is going to be followed by more energy coming in off the Atlantic as well. Then we've got an area of low pressure that comes in during the latter half of this weekend, and you can see how it's a pretty deep area of low pressure, 969 millibars crossing the north coast of Scotland here, so that would potentially be a storm for the northern half of the UK. So this is next Saturday, a long way off, I know, but really the rule of thumb here is the Atlantic is going to be the main driver. A lot of cold air is going to be crossing the Atlantic as well, so bear in mind that these systems are going to have quite an edge to them, with the potential for frozen precipitation as well as liquid. So keep that in mind. Do check out the written post. It will be available tomorrow, no post today, and I'll be back in the next couple of days with more on the video. Hope you have a great day, Sunday evening. Bye for now.